Our final honorary degree recipient has dedicated her life to education and service. She holds a PhD in family therapy and gerontology. She was a nurse practitioner and then became a psychologist. Her professional background includes a 25-year career as a professor of marriage and family therapy. She also maintained a private practice for 30 years. She is the author of numerous publications. Her commitment to helping and elevating others is evident in her decades of volunteer service in Utah and around the world. Dr. Wendy Watson Nelson has earned an honorary doctorate of humane letters.
Dr. Wendy Watson Nelson grew up in Raymond, Alberta, Canada, the middle of 3 daughters of Leonard and Laura Bird McLean Watson. She received her RN in Canada, a bachelor's degree with distinction in psychology from the University of Hawaii, a master's degree in marriage and family therapy from BYU, and her PhD from the University of Calgary. She has dedicated her life to service as a psychologist, gerontologist, marriage and family therapist, and as a distinguished professor. As a professor of marriage and family therapy, Nelson taught for 12 years at the University of Calgary in Alberta, Canada, and for 13 years at Brigham Young University, teaching doctoral and master's students. During those 25 years of teaching, researching, writing, supervising, and consulting in her field, she also spoke at more than 200 international and national scholarly conferences while maintaining a private psychotherapy practice. She chaired the BYU Women's Conference for the years of 1999 and 2000, increasing the reach of that conference and inaugurating many firsts which have continued to this day, including the service event. She retired in 2006 when she married Dr. Russell M. Nelson. Her life of service expanded immediately, and even more so when he became president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in 2018. During the past 15 years, she has spent countless hours traveling and speaking with her husband to audiences around the globe. Her unique life experiences and extensive academic study provide additional insight into matters of the soul and the family. Together, President and Dr. Nelson also continue to nurture and be nurtured by Dr. Nelson's sisters, Kathy and Virginia, and her nieces and nephews in Canada, and their own family, which consists of 10 children from President Nelson's late wife, Dancel White Nelson, and their spouses, 57 grandchildren, 145 great-grandchildren, and 1 great-great-grandson.
Please welcome honorary degree recipient, Dr. Wendy Watson Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Thompson, and congratulations to our honorary degree recipients. We are so honored to add Wolverine to your many titles. Now we are honored to welcome Dr. Wendy Watson Nelson as our commencement speaker. We are grateful that she has graciously accepted an invitation to be a part of tonight's celebration. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Wendy Watson Nelson.
Our dear Utah Valley graduates of 2021, congratulations, you did it. You have accomplished something others only dream of, and you did it, against so many odds. I said to my husband this morning as he left for work, please resist every temptation to go skydiving today. I really wanted him to be with us tonight, and he is. Graduates, my husband and I are honored to be with you and with the outstanding faculty and staff of UVU and with esteemed community leaders and your very proud family members and friends. I spent many years of my life on a university campus. I am so proud of you for hanging in. You never gave up, though there may have been times when you wanted to. So congratulations, graduates, as you live up to the great example of your president, you will continue to succeed. President Astrid Tubinez has a passion for excellence and a penchant for doing the impossible. What a surprise it was for me to receive an honorary doctorate from UVU. I thank the Board of Trustees and the university for this recognition. And that leads me to the first point I'd like to share with you tonight. Life is full of surprises. Some surprises are fun, some jaw-dropping, some heart-wrenching, some almost heart-stopping. I'm sure you've experienced all kinds. I certainly have. For example, I always knew that I was going to marry in my 20s and have 10 children. That was my life plan. I dated some great men with that goal in mind. However, I never wanted to be just waiting for marriage. Instead, I wanted to be increasingly more prepared for marriage and for life. So I pursued further education. That was really important to me. I loved learning, and then after I received my PhD, I loved teaching doctoral and master's students. And surprise, I married when I was in my 50s to a man with 10 children. And would you like to know one of the most wonderful surprises of all? After 15 years of marriage, my husband and I still fall in love with each other more every day. In fact, one of the benefits of the COVID constraints is that we have had more time together, just the two of us, and we have loved every extra moment. My husband is my 8th wonder of the world. Well, actually, he's the first wonder of my world. For 55 years, I wondered where he was. And then, surprise, suddenly he was here. My dear graduates, some surprises really are worth waiting for. I've experienced plenty of surprises as my husband and I have visited over 85 countries together. As we visit places filled with all kinds of sights and smells and sounds, foods, customs, languages, roadways, buildings, and people, there are many surprises, especially for a girl who grew up in a little prairie town of 3,000 people in southern Alberta in Canada. When we travel, one of the biggest surprises for me is that I can never get enough of each place we visit. I instantly love the people and wish they were our neighbors. I want to take each child home and find myself telling parents that if their children go missing, they just might want to check our luggage. Another stunning surprise is how drawn I am to the government and religious leaders of the various nations. Most have very different ideologies from mine, and yet, when I have the privilege, I love looking into their faces and into their eyes, just as my husband does. I love hearing what they believe and learning about their families. Invariably, I quickly realize how very much we have in common. I'm always sorry to have our visit end. Now, let me tell you of another surprise, one that was more of the heart-stopping kind. Context. My husband and I love Africa and its people. I fell in love with them on my first visit to Ghana and Nigeria. When I am with our African friends, such as my friend Gladys from Kenya, who actually feels more like a sister to me, I always feel that I am in the presence of royalty. So I was taken completely by surprise a few years ago when we were in Mozambique. After a lovely afternoon of visiting with several wonderful women and their children in their homes, 3 men sauntered into the room where my husband and I were having dinner with 2 other couples. Surprise, the men were armed and they were dangerous. One robber immediately kicked my husband to the floor. Another shoved a pistol into my back and started to rock my chair, attempting to pull me from it. He said over and over again, "You are coming with us. You are coming with us." The intent of the robbers was to kill my husband and to kidnap me. However, thanks to the actions of some courageous, inspired local friends, our lives were spared. What surprised me the very most during that Mozambique robbery is that I felt thoroughly, totally, completely at peace. Let me just say that that experience now helps me put even a really bad day into perspective. When I am in the midst of a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I think to myself, wait a minute, my husband is alive and I'm not being held hostage. Life is good. So graduates, my first suggestion as you commence the rest of your life is be willing and be prepared to be surprised. And perhaps even more importantly, be willing and be prepared to learn from each surprise. Now, a second point as you commence the rest of your life, armed with your degree, would you like to participate in a really big surprise? Would you like to know something you can do that will actually help to change the world for the better? Here's a best-kept secret. If you will remove contention from your life, not only will your world change, but you will help to change the world itself. We hear and see so much contention today. By contention, I mean extreme forms of discord, strife, and antagonism rooted in disagreements between people. Over 30 years of my professional life were devoted to helping people remove contention from their lives. From my teaching, clinical practice, and clinical research, I can tell you that contention is lethal. It can ruin your physical health, ravage your relationships, and play havoc with your productivity, creativity, and stamina. And that's just for starters. Now, for several years, the billboards and lighted signs on I-15 touting Utah's Safe Driving Campaign slogan have caught my attention. The slogan is "Zero Fatalities," which represents the goal of eliminating deaths on our roadways. Because of my professional background, each time I see the slogan, "Zero Fatalities," I can't help but see the words "zero contention" in my mind's eye. Graduates, if you want to have a wonderful life, a life filled with momentum and optimism and accomplishment, remove contention from your mind and heart, from your conversations and relationships, from your home and from your workplace. Now, that's easier said than done, right? How can we possibly remove destructive contention while still discussing, even debating, important topics of substance with those with whom we don't agree? Is that even possible? My answer to you tonight is absolutely. When we drive on our freeways with a desire to support Utah's zero fatalities goal, we realize there are things we each can do differently when we drive. So too, when we really desire zero contention in our lives, we realize there are things we each can do differently to be reconciled with others and to avoid contention. Now, I realize that when we think about cyberbullying or recent political campaigns or strong opinions on social media about everything from masks to guns, the goal of zero contention can seem to be absolutely impossible. Utah's Safe Driving Campaign says, quote, "Some say it's impossible, but if we all work together, we can reach zero fatalities," end quote. And so I say to you tonight, Some say it's impossible, but if we all work together, we can reach zero contention. Yes, it's true that misunderstandings happen, feelings get hurt, contentions arise. Well, what do we do then? We stay with our goal of zero contention, recognizing that it may take some time to get there. Perhaps it would be helpful to identify what fuels contention. The concepts of a Chilean biologist intrigue me. Dr. Humberto Maturana was a researcher in visual perception at Boston's MIT. He has offered the concept of emotional violence, defined as holding an idea to be true such that another's idea is wrong and must change. It is the and must change part that results in emotional violence. When one person believes that he or she is more correct than another and that the other's idea must change, emotional violence arises. We can have ideas that are different from others. That's just part of life, even a most enriching part. We can be passionate about our ideas and yet find ways to share our ideas in a manner that leads to congenial debates and to engaging conversations. In my experience as an academic, the university is exactly the kind of place where these kind of debates and conversations can and should occur. However, when one person says or implies, "You are wrong and must change your view," when we force our ideas on others or insist that they must think or believe, vote, or behave like we do, that is emotional violence. And emotional violence is the breeding ground for contention. Multiple perspectives can be represented by a picture that looks like a clown until the picture is turned sideways. Then it looks like a whole circus. Metaphorically, people in conflict perpetually debate the truth of what is in the picture. One says, so to speak, well, obviously, this is a picture of a clown. And the other says, you are missing so much. Obviously, this is a picture of a whole circus. Viewing the clown circus picture from different angles, each sees something different. No matter what influences our perspective, multiple perspectives can become a rich seedbed in which creativity, productivity, and human dignity can flourish if we remain respectful, curious, and kind. Relationships can grow, hearts can heal, minds can expand if our conversations are filled with comments such as, again, metaphorically speaking, help me understand how you are able to see the clown, and show me where you see the circus. It is the contention-generating belief of, there is only one correct view, and I have it, and you must have it too, that gets us in trouble. When that belief influences a conversation, whether in person or through email, text, or Twitter, or on Zoom, social media, or for that matter, on the Senate floor, negative characterizations and accusations spew forth. My dear graduates, contention wounds our souls and our cells, the very cells in our body. Have you ever had a conversation that gave you a headache or a stomach ache? And conversely, have you ever felt invigorated, even healthier, at the end of a conversation? The children's chant, "Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me," is actually not true. Words can hurt us. So what is the answer? The answer is love. Love is a powerful healer, and its companions are peace and joy. I invite you to consider Maturana's definition of love. Love is opening space for the existence of another. I love that definition, and I love that this definition is offered by a biologist, not a philosopher, not a poet, nor even a country western singer. When we open space in our lives and in our hearts and minds for others, they can arise as who they really are. When we open space for the existence of someone in our lives, we create opportunities to be together. We open space in our mind and heart for them and for their ideas. We don't need to agree with another person's ideas, but when we open our ears and our hearts to their ideas, contention leaves and love enters in. With love present, we may be surprised how easy it is to offer commendations and encouragement, or to apologize for not previously listening or for previously attempting to push or force our ideas. When I clinically supervised my doctoral and master's students, I would sometimes have one family member who was embroiled in high-intensity contention sit with me behind a one-way mirror, while the other family members stayed with the student in the therapy room. With this new perspective, the family member behind the mirror seemed to be given new ears to hear, new eyes to see. The need to press his or her viewpoint one more time or to be defensive was gone. Contention was gone. He or she could now focus on listening and understanding. As we listened to and watched the family in the therapy room, I was able to point out certain things that the person with me had never considered before, such as, can you hear in that comment by your son how really important you are to him? Can you see that perhaps his unusual behavior of late could actually be his best effort to be loyal to you? As the heart of the person who was with me softened, I would assist him or her to call into the therapy room to offer commendations and apologies to the other family members. I was never quite prepared for the almost immediate change that occurred as love entered in. So, my dear graduates, as you commence the rest of your life, I invite you to experiment with Maturana's ideas about emotional violence and his ideas about love. Some wonderful surprises could be right around the corner. As contention falls away, hearts can change, conversations can change, relationships can change, and compassion, creativity, and productivity can increase exponentially. That's only the beginning. And surprise, the world in which we live, the world we co-create through our interactions with others, can change for the better. Our world truly can become a more beautiful, exciting, peaceful place for you and for those you love. So our fabulous Utah Valley University graduates of 2021, the world awaits. May God bless you as you become forces for good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. We are so grateful for your insights and wisdom, and we sincerely appreciate your willingness to share your message with our graduates. Everyone, please show your appreciation one more time for Dr. Wendy Watson Nelson.